I guess we have no choice but to keep believing. We cannot give up hope, right? Now let's look at what's going on with oil prices, which of course affect us. And Middle East has been tense in the last couple of days, where oil prices ticked higher in early trade on Thursday as investors weigh the escalating conflict in the Middle East and the potential for disruption to crude flows against ample supply in the global market. Look at Brent for this morning. It added 64 cents. 64 cents is about 0.87% right there. So it's at $74.54 a barrel. That's for Brent. WTI went up even more than that, more than 1% that it added. That's about 72 cents added to it in the last couple of hours. So it's $70.82 a barrel. And needless to say, the Middle East is a major driver of this. An Israeli strike on central Beirut's Bakura neighborhood early on Thursday left 2 people killed and 11 wounded. The Lebanese Health Ministry shared this in a statement. Iran was drawn into the conflict on Tuesday when it fired more than 180 ballistic missiles at Israel in an escalation of hostilities which has seeped out of Israel and Palestine into Lebanon and seems to be going further east. But an unexpected build in U.S. crude inventories on Wednesday kind of eased the price and supply concerns, but not enough, obviously. U.S. crude inventories rose 3.9 million barrels to 417 million barrels in the weekend of September 27. This is according to the Energy Information Administration. Also, there's expectation that it's going to go as high as 1.3 million barrel draw. Let's talk about this and the issue going on in the Middle East, how it's affecting us back here in Nigeria, knowing that our mainstay is the crude. We're having this conversation with Mr. Bismarck Rewane, the Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Company. Mr. Rewane, good morning.
Good morning, Ini. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we see this surge in the price of global oil. That's supposed to be good for us, but I mean, there's also the other side of it. And this is even though we have still not gotten back to the $80, which has been like a resistance point for a long time now.
No, I think basically let us separate things that are exogenous and temporary from things that are fundamental. The crisis in the Middle East, because of what's happening in Lebanon, is a transient event. I think finally you will have a truce. But meanwhile, the price of Brent has gone up to $75 a barrel. Even at $75 a barrel, it's good for Nigeria in terms of our earnings, but our production is still below expectation. But what's happening here is that the effect of this is that the Naira has appreciated in parallel market. I saw your earlier presentation that it fell in the NAFEM market. But the reality is that those moves are to ensure unification of rates. The rates are virtually unified at about 1687 right now, which is good. Don't forget, it had got all the way to 1720. In the IATA market, therefore, selling of tickets, the Naira has appreciated to about 1689 as well. So that had gone to 1699 earlier. So we see that. What is the effect of this? The effect of this on domestic commodity prices as follows. One, we've seen domestic commodity prices drop. Mainly, pepper has fallen by 37% to 50,000 naira a bag. We've seen flour drop to 65,000 naira. Flour was up to 70,000 naira a bag. We've seen palm oil drop to 12% to 7,000 naira. And we've seen unfortunately, we've seen King's vegetable oil actually stay higher than usual at 12,500. We've seen onions come down sharply to 115,000 naira, and rice has also come down to 110,000. It was as high as 120. The commodity that is actually surprising everybody is beans. Beans has actually gone up. It's probably out of reach, but that's what we see. But when you come back. So the price of these commodities are coming down, one, because of harvest, two, because of improved logistics cost. But we are seeing the price of diesel going the other direction. Diesel is up it went from 1,150 to 1,200 naira yesterday. So we are beginning to see unification of rates between the price of diesel and the price of PMS. PMS, meanwhile, is trading at about 897 to 900 naira a liter. We expect it to increase to about 1,200 soon. Now, so go ahead, please.
I was just curious as to why diesel has increased by a whole more than 4%.
I didn't get that.
Diesel, the price of diesel. I'm wondering what's driving it, and it's gone up sharp, more than 4%.
No, but the point is that diesel is a product that comes from crude oil. If the price of crude oil increases, so the price of diesel will increase. So you can expect that. That's natural. But also, the demand for diesel is beginning to increase because people were carrying low inventory. They did not know what will happen come October 1. People were expecting prices to change. So people kept inventory low. Now that October 1 is here and the price has not changed, people are now going back in. But in the meantime, there are some shortages that we're beginning to witness, right? And that has become very clear, okay?
Then also I wanted to ask Mr. Rewane, so we see because of harvest, a lot of the commodities, especially the perishables, are reducing, but beans has been up. I don't think I've seen it reduce for a couple of months. Is there any particular thing that is affecting the price of beans?
No, there are three things that are happening. One, the harvest season, so we are getting the same products. Two is the flooding. So even if there's a harvest, flooding has affected the roads and the logistics cost and has also destroyed a lot of the goods. But meanwhile, because of high interest rates and heavy cost of carrying inventory, some farmers are beginning to sell. They're beginning to sell at fire sale price and knock off things. So we see that happen generally. There's no doubt about that. But you have to bear in mind, one is the cost of the commodity, two is the cost of international price, the international price of those goods in the global markets, and three is the cost of moving those products from farm to the markets. So all of these things put together, and the opportunity cost of carrying cash and carrying inventory, these things have brought about price adjustments. Also, please note that people do not have purchasing power. A lot of the income of Nigerians has been eroded because of inflation on one hand and because of currency depreciation on the other. So they cannot buy with what they don't have. So that is beginning to have an effect on the price of commodities. So for now, we think that in spite of everything, we think that inflation will still increase. Food inflation in particular will increase to 34. Headline inflation will increase to 34%. But this is only temporary. When the imported commodities that are going to enjoy the duty waiver come into the country, you will see that those prices begin to actually reduce. We've seen that in wheat flour. Wheat has come down from 70,000, 71,000 all the way to 65, and we expect it to drop to 59,000 when those ships begin to get docked in Nigeria this week or next week.
Yeah, but it's a short-term thing. I mean, it's supposed to be over by December.
Yes, it's not that short term. You see, there are times of the year when the price of commodities reduce. And at the same time, that is the time of the year when Nigerian visiting friends and relatives are coming back. So we see the Naira appreciating. When you put all of this together, you will have a mildly stronger Naira, you will have lower price of goods, and then you will have the cost of moving the goods from farms to markets, all having an effect on domestic commodity prices in the near term. So generally speaking, I think let's keep our breaths, and we should expect that prices will stabilize in the next couple of weeks. But don't forget the Christmas season is here, and once the Christmas season comes in, the demand for commodities increases and the prices begin to go up again in December. So let's not get too excited. We are here. This is going to be a very long, painful recovery. And
wow.
That's the story of life.
Wow. Reality. Thank you so much, Mr. Bismarck, for your thoughts and perspective this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, it's Global Investor Week. How does that concern you? Are you an investor? Do you want to be initiated to be an investor? We'll have that conversation after the break right here on Business Morning on Sunrise Daily.